1,400 years ago, in the deserts of Arabia, during a time unimaginably distant from today's level of science and technology, the Holy Quran was revealed. And this sacred book contains such truths that modern science was only able to discover them centuries later. Today, I will share with you some of the facts mentioned in the Quran that have astonished the scientific world. These are details that cannot be coincidental, and information that is too precise to be guessed. 1. Embryological development. Our first stop is perhaps the most striking, the stages of human embryonic development. In verses 12 to 14 of Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah says, "Indeed, we created man from an extract of clay. Then we made him a drop in a secure lodging. Then we made the drop into a clinging clot, and the clot into a lump of flesh, and the lump into bones, and we covered the bones with flesh. Then we developed him into another creation." Surah Al-Mu'minun, 23:12 to 14. Now let's take a closer look at the terms in these verses. Nutfa. In Arabic, it means a drop, a small amount of liquid. Today we know that the cells from the man and woman are microscopic drops. Alaka, a clinging thing, a suspended thing. Modern embryology shows that the fertilized egg attaches to the uterus and remains attached in the full sense of the word. What is even more interesting is that the embryo at this stage really resembles a leech, and the Arabic word alaka also means leech. Mudya, a piece of chewed meat. When you examine this stage of the embryo under a microscope, you encounter an image that resembles a piece of chewed meat. There are structures called somites, which resemble tooth marks. There were no microscopes 1,400 years ago. The human eye could not see these stages. So how did the Prophet Muhammad (SAW) know this? 2. The expansion of the universe. Second stop, the expansion of the universe. In verse 47 of Surah Zariyat, Allah says, "We built the heavens with our power, and indeed, we are expanding it." Surah Zariyat, 51:47. This verse reveals an incredible truth 1,400 years ago. The universe is expanding. In 1929, Edwin Hubble discovered that galaxies are moving away from each other using telescopes. This discovery led to the development of the Big Bang theory, one of the cornerstones of modern cosmology. While the scientific world discovered this fact in the 20th century, the Quran had already stated it 14 centuries earlier. The word musiyun means expanding, increasing in size. This indicates not a static universe, but a constantly growing, dynamic universe. 3. The barrier between the oceans. Thirdly, let us look at the secret of the oceans. The 19th and 20th verses of the Rahman Surah state, "He has released the two seas, flowing towards each other. There is a barrier between them. They do not transgress each other." Rahman Surah 55, 19 to 20. And in verse 53 of Surah Furkan, "It is He who has released the two seas, flowing towards each other. There is a barrier between them. They do not transgress each other." Modern oceanography has shown us that when two different seas meet, an invisible barrier forms between them. This barrier arises from differences in the salinity, density, temperature, and wave motion of the water masses. We can clearly see this phenomenon at the Strait of Gibraltar, where the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean meet. Each water mass retains its own characteristics. They do not mix completely. This information was only discovered in the 20th century with advanced diving equipment and precise measuring devices. 1,400 years ago, there was no way to descend into the depths of the oceans. Where did this information come from? 4. The function of mountains as pilings. Fourth point, the true function of mountains. In verses 6 to 7 of Surah Nebe, Allah says, "Did we not make the earth a bed and the mountains as pegs?" Surah Nebe, 78, 6 to 7. And in verse 15 of Surah Nahl, He placed firm mountains on the earth so that it would not shake you. Surah Nahl, 58, 1615. Modern geology has shown us that mountains have roots that extend deep into the earth. Just like a peg, the part we see is only a small part. The underground roots of mountains extend much deeper than the upper part. More importantly, mountains balance the movement of tectonic plates, reducing the intensity of earthquakes and stabilizing the world. This mechanism, called isostatic equilibrium, ensures that the earth does not shake. The theory of plate tectonics was developed in the 1960s. The Quran, however, had described this reality 1,400 years earlier using the metaphor of pegs. These are just a few examples. The Quran contains information about the layers of the atmosphere, the formation of clouds, the darkness in the depths of the seas, the uniqueness of fingerprints, the navigation system of bees, and much more. All of this shows us that the Quran cannot be the product of an ordinary human being. The fact that such detailed and accurate information was provided 1,400 years ago without any means of science and technology can only be explained by it being the word of the Creator. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Surah Fussilat, 41:53. Think, research, and see the truth. Because every scientific discovery adds another piece of evidence to the miraculous nature of the Quran.